Hey y'all, we are going to review some order of operations and evaluating algebraic expressions. You have done this week, whether you were with me face to face or you were on distance learning. So let's refresh really quick. Remember to do your order of operations, what little acronym do we remember? And you're probably thinking it's PEMDAS. Okay, and we wrote it in your notes. The P stands for the parentheses, E is exponent, M is multiplication, D is division, A is addition, S is subtraction. Remember, when you have multiplication and division next to each other, you go left to right. When you have addition and subtraction next to each other, you go left to right. So that's the most important thing. And always remember, you can check yourself on your calculator as well. So you could put the whole thing in once you were done and check it on your calculator. These are some easy ones. And keep in mind, these that I'm doing with you, they're on your notes. So you can go ahead and grab out your packet that you got this week and go to the homework order of operations, and these questions will be on there. Pause it as you need. So let's jump to that one's a little easy too. All right, let's try this one. Try ones that are a little more difficult. So if you notice about this one, P is for parentheses. I see parentheses here and brackets here. Remember, brackets are just a fancy way of saying parentheses. Okay, so they're really the same thing. I see a cubed. So once I get all of this, I want to cube it. And then what does this mean right here? And that's your absolute value, bars. Remember, absolute value is the distance away from 0 on a number line. So let's go ahead and start with this. Do what's inside of parentheses. So leave my bracket. I have these parentheses. -5 plus 1 is -4. And I have the plus 2 there. Now I can finish doing what's in the parentheses or the brackets. -4 plus 2 is what? -2. Now finish your parentheses or your exponent, because it's kind of parentheses and an exponent. So -2 cubed. Remember, -2 cubed means this number times itself 3 times. So -2 times -2 times -2. -2 times -2 is +4. +4 times -2 is -8. The absolute value of 7, how far away, the absolute value of -7, how far away is -7 from 0 on a number line? And it would be +7. Remember, distance is always positive. So -8 minus 7 is -15. Another thing you could do is you could check yourself in the calculator on this part. When you're squaring or cubing a negative number, please make sure you use parentheses. Remember, the exponent is there, 3 is there, and hit enter. Okay, if you do not use parentheses when you're squaring or cubing a negative number, it's not going to square the negative or cube the negative. It's only going to square or cube the number and keep the negative. So keep that in mind. All right, I'm not going to go over many order of operations because I think y'all are pretty good with it. There was one challenging one. No, I think, let's try this one really quick. Then we'll get to the evaluating expressions. Okay, now I'm thinking that's a plus sign. It's not very clear on mine. Let me check that really quick. What number is this? Number 12. Oh, that's a division. So I got to remember that that is a division sign. So I got a division sign there. All right, so we got this fraction and that absolute value. I'm going to do the absolute value first because that's kind of like parentheses. So the absolute value of -16 is +16. But keep in mind, you have the negative out front, so that has to come down with it. Divided by, I can do my parentheses here. So 3 squared is 9, and 9 minus 4 is 5. I can also do my denominator at the same time. 5 minus 10 is what, -5? All right, so I got division and division. Well, I can't really do this division until I reduce this one. So 5 divided by negative 5 is negative 1. And then I'm just left with negative 16 divided by negative 1, which is positive 16. Check yourself. Remember, the calculator can do this all for you. So really, once you figure out this part, once you figure out that that part is negative 16, because the absolute value of negative 16 is positive 16, and then I keep the negative. If I leave this other side right here, whoops, if I leave that other side the way it is, I can put it in the calculator just the way I see it. So remember, negative 16 divided by, to get this whole entire fraction, remember, alpha, y equals number 1, and I want to open parentheses, 3 exponent squared. Remember, my cursor's up there with the exponent. Use the over arrow. Minus 4, whoops, minus 4, close parentheses. Use the down arrow, and then 5, whoops, 5 minus 10. And I get positive 16, which is what I had. So you can always check yourself, okay? All right, I think y'all are okay with the order of operations. That's pretty easy. A lot of that is review. So let's go ahead and deal with evaluating expressions. Now, evaluating expressions ends up dealing with order of operations also, so you'll get a little bit more review in that. All right, so you guys had to do the evens, all the even numbers for homework. I'm going to look at some of the odd ones with you to just double check. So evaluate each expression for the given variable values. So you have this expression, and it's an expression because there's no equal sign. So n squared minus 3n plus 8 if n is 4. Wherever I see n, I'll plug in 4. So 4 squared minus 3 times n, which is 4, plus 8. What do I do first? No parentheses. I have an exponent. 4 squared is 16. Then multiplication, and I have multiplication. 3 times 4 is 12. And then I have addition and subtraction together. Go from left to right. 16 plus 12 is 4. 4 plus 8 is 12. And again, I could check my answer, put that whole thing in the calculator. 4 squared over minus 3 times 4 plus 8. And I get 12. I like this one because it has 2 variables. So you have 4 times the absolute value of m minus n. M is this, and n is that. So when you're rewriting it, just be careful that you put the correct ones where they belong. So 4 times the absolute value of m, which is negative 7, minus the absolute value of n, which is 2. Order of operations tells me to do what's inside parentheses. Your absolute value bars are pretty much like your parentheses. Woo. So let's go ahead and do that. But remember, I've got to do this first before I can take the absolute value. So negative 7 minus 2 is negative 9. Now I can take the absolute value of negative 9, so leave your 4, times what is the absolute value of negative 9? How far away is negative 9 from 0 on a number line? And it is 9 units. And now I'm just left with 4 times 9, which is 36. And 36 is my answer, this expression simplified. Remember, you can always stop this video if you need to, like if you didn't know 7 minus 2, pause it, go use your calculator to double check yourself. When you're putting in negative 7 minus 2, remember, the negative sign is below the 3, so negative 7, and then the minus or the subtraction is over here on the right. Okay, so use the correct signs. If you ever use the wrong sign, it'll say error syntax issue. That means you used a negative as a subtraction or a subtraction as a negative. So the calculator knows when you're using the wrong signs. So just be cautious of that. All right, let's look at this one. We got two variables here, s squared times t minus 10, where s is negative 8 and t is 3/4. So let's plug them in. So s squared means negative 8 squared. Notice how I put parentheses, because whenever I'm squaring a negative, I want it in parentheses. Times t, so times t is 3/4 minus 10. My parentheses and my exponent are first. Negative 8 squared means negative 8 times negative 8. A negative times a negative is a positive 64. So now I'm left with 64 times 3/4 minus 10. Your multiplication comes next. Let's go check ourselves on the calculator. 64 times 3/4. Remember, alpha, y equals number 1. Put a 3 in the numerator. Go down to the denominator and a 4. Go over and hit enter for an answer. So I got 48. Now I'm left with 48 minus 10, which is 38. Could I technically check myself from the very beginning once I substitute for my variables? I could, but just remember, when you're squaring a negative number, it best be in parentheses if you want the right answer. So open parentheses, negative 8. Oops. Close parentheses and square it. I'm up with my exponent, go over, times my fraction, alpha, y equals number 1, 3, down, 4, over, because I have to finish my minus 10. And I got 38, just like I got. All right, let's see what good ones we got going on here. I think we might do 9, and then I think we'll be 10. So you guys can get started on what you need to get started on for today. All right, so I got 3 going on here. 3 different variables. Negative q squared minus r squared plus 3. Q is 9, r is negative 6, s is negative 20. All right, so q is 9. Now be careful here. It's squaring q. It has a negative out front, and then it's squaring q. Q is only the 9. So I'm just squaring the 9. That negative stays out front. Minus r squared. Now be careful. R is negative. So I'm squaring the whole negative there. Plus 3 times s, which is negative 20. All right, now because I'm only squaring the 9, 9 squared is 81, and I have to keep that negative, minus negative 6 squared means negative 6 times negative 6. Negative times negative is positive 36, plus positive 3 times negative 20 is negative 60. Now I just have addition and subtraction. What do I do with that? I go from left to right when I just have addition and subtraction left. So negative 81 minus 36 plus negative 60. And I get negative 177. So this question, bottom line, just be very careful. Q is positive 9. That negative is just staying out front, so you're only squaring that positive 9. Just be cautious with that one. All right, go ahead and check the rest of your Google slide for today to see what you need to do. If you have any questions, you can email me or send me a remind message. Keep working hard.